My childhood started, uh, from what I remember, I was like 3 or 4 years old. Uh, I lived in the Rockaways, which is the South Shore of Long Island, part of New York City. And I went to, when I was like, what we did is we had many, many friends, all sizes, all colors, and we played a lot of baseball, basketball. We played a lot of basketball. That was the easiest sport to play, basketball. But I like to play baseball. And my oldest daughter had 3 children who were very close to me. The three of them, Michael, who's sitting with me here taking this, was named after me. Michael Samuel. Samuel was my father's name. And I'm the matriarch. No, patriarch. Sorry. I'm the patriarch. That's enough of it. Enough? Oh.
For Gramps, I remember there was a story you once told me when you ditched school to go to a baseball game, and your teacher seemed to remember exactly what you were wearing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, what happened was, we had a teacher in Rockaway High School. His name was Mr. Teets, so you can imagine what we used to call him. But anyway, I wanted to go home to watch the Giants and Dodgers on TV. They were playing in a playoff game in 1950 or 51. It was like 50 or 51. And the only way I could get to that game was to Toronto. Getting mixed up, it wasn't. Bobby Thompson hit the home run in 1950. That was the game. Okay, put it back. In 1951, I wanted to watch the Giant Dodger game, playoff game. And it was on a school day, and I had to get out of school. And what I did, I ran past the teacher, Mr. Teets, and Mr. Teets said, he asked me to stop, and I kept on running out the door and everything. And he says, I'll remember that red sweater you were wearing. That was the last time I wore the red sweater to Rockaway High School, because he would have recognized it. But anyway, that was the playoff game between the Giants and Dodgers, and it was the greatest hit in the history of baseball. Bobby Thompson hit a home run over the 315 sign in the Polo Grounds. But it was a good shot. But it went over the 315 side because the Polo Grounds was the worst place to have a Major League Baseball game. Short right field, short left field. But they had a nice crowd there, and they do well. Okay, what else you want to ask me?
Were you able to make it into the stadium? When you went to the game, were you able to make it into the stadium? Is that where the game was played at?
Oh no, the game was played at Boulder. Oh yeah, I've been. Okay,
for this game, did you?
Put it back on, because I went to the 3 stadiums in New York City. One was the Polo Grounds, the other Yankee Stadium, and the other Ebbets Field. And in those days, it was very easy getting places because you took a subway everywhere. And it might have been a long ride, but it was a good ride. I went to all 3 stadiums, and at Yankee Stadium, the football Giants moved from the Polo Grounds to Yankee Stadium because they had bigger seating arrangement. But I was very, very big on sports and enjoyed every moment of it. All my friends were sports fans, and the Dodger fans and Giant fans used to used to have fist fights. And the Yankee fans you didn't even bother with because everyone who wasn't a Yankee fan hated the Yankees because they always won. But they had the great players like Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio was a great player. We saw the players. I saw Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, Roy Campanella, Don Newcomb, Noah, Willie Mays, my favorite of all time. And it was nice growing up in those days. I served 15 months in Korea. No hero, but the place was devastated when I was there. And it was very, very cold in the winter and very warm, hot in the summer. And we visited the 38th parallel, which is still the 38th parallel. But once in a while, Chinese planes would fly over, but I was really safe. I was a radio operator. For 15 months and listened to the radio signals and whatever came on, and you wrote it down. Morse code. I was had to know the Morse code and took down everything that you heard, and you would get these papers. I was a spy, really. I was in the ASA. I can't tell people what I did. I was a radio operator, and you would write down everything I heard. You would work 6 hours on and 18 off. But anyway, I handed in these papers to another person who worked for the. He also was a spy, and that was the last I know of the papers. So, but the army was very interesting. We were 12 people up on a hilltop. The truce was on. There was nowhere to go. And, the big thing, there was no running water, or you couldn't take a shower or shave. And twice a week we would hop into the back of a big truck, and they would drive us to Seoul, and we shower and shave. And we were very grateful for that. But anyway, the army was very, like I was 19 years old when I went into the army. I was before 21 when I got out, and I went to Korea with 2 or 3 other people who I knew from the Rockaways, but we were split up. So, but Korea was very interesting. It was bombed out, and I really grew up in Korea. I saw what the war did, and it was horrible.
Do you have any funny stories? Do you have any fun stories from Korea?
Do I have stories about?
Maybe the more lighthearted ones.
When I hurt my leg sliding into second base, and a guy took a shot at me, and I told him I hurt my leg sliding into second base, which was a night on the town. We went to the night on the town in Seoul, and we had to sneak back into the camp, and so God said, "Hold who goes there," and I took off, and the guy took a shot at me. So the next, and I fell down. Not that this bullet hit me, but I fell down and sprained my ankle. And the next day, I went to the doctor, and he said, "What happened?" I said, "I hurt my ankle sliding into second base," and that worked. And I thought it was good. The army was really funny. The army was funny. I mean, we had a fence in the camp. And, every day, every other day, we go back, and the orders were to move the fence 5 feet just to the south, and move it 5 feet to the east, 5 feet back to the north, and that was like every 5 days or so. And one day, when I sneaked out of the fence work, I went underneath the barracks, and and I stayed there. Well, there were a couple of guys we hid underneath the barracks, and that was it. So, anyway, it was the army was the way. The heroes were the ones who got away with the most things. Like, I volunteered for typing. This was in basic training. They said, "Does anyone type here?" And I raised my hand. Yes, of course. I typed. But, I took it in school for 1 year, so I typed. And when I went to work for the sergeant in charge, I typed with one finger, and he threw me out. I lasted 1 day. But the army that's what you can get away with. So, even though you went drilling, I mean, we had all the drills, but there's no fighting. And I remember the story between Zippy and myself, basic training. We were loading a bazooka, and I was loading the bazooka, and when you loaded it, you tapped the guy on the head, and that was it. So I couldn't get the bazooka into the bomb into the bazooka, and everybody was shooting. So I tapped Zippy on the head, and he shot, and the bazooka fell out on the floor. And that's a true story. So, what else?
These stories relate to folklore because my grandfather's memoirs are a short composition of personal experience narratives. His first-hand accounts were both interesting and strange, and while he looks back and laughs at the time a guard tried to shoot him, he could easily have been killed, and I'm sure it was scary in real time. My grandfather is also telling these stories 65 plus years later. He does his best to tell it as accurately as possible, but there are obvious memory lapses, including when he's remembering skipping school, as well as when he's explaining how often the fences were moved at the army camp. Originally it's every day, then every other day, finally every 5 days. My grandfather's anecdote about his time in Korea shows how his worldview changed as well. He mentioned realizing what war could do to a place, how horrible it was. He used words such as devastated and bombed out, along with his description of the harsh seasons to paint a picture of the rougher times he saw there. My grandfather also mentions a kind of culture within my family. I get my first name from him and my middle name from his father. It's not a coincidence either. My grandfather was born April 12th, my great-grandfather April 13th, 1898, and I was born April 14th, 1998. Because of this, I had to take their names. Every year, those 3 days are celebratory of us all. Finally, a couple times throughout the interview, my grandfather and I experienced a language barrier. Not that we speak different languages, but some words mean different things to him when he's in his New York state of mind. For example, when I asked him if he was able to make it into the stadium, he was confused, because to him, the stadium is Yankee Stadium, not just any old ballpark.